Hey dudes and dudettes, maybe that should be my new intro. Hey friends, it's Simon Hurley and welcome back to another video. Now today I am so excited to be sharing another card making life hacks with you guys. You all seem to enjoy these just as much as I love creating them. So I have been compiling a list in my notes app of some tips and tricks and card making life hacks I learned over the past couple of weeks that I really am excited to share with all of you guys. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so the first life hack has to do with the MISTI stamping tool. And let me show you what's up with this. So I absolutely love the MISTI stamping tool for my stamping, and one of my favorite things about it is that it actually has either a foam mouse pad in it that you can clean off on top or just a piece of black foam, and this makes for a really great cushioned stamping surface. Alright, so I'm just going to go in here and grab a stamp. This one happens to be from my new Simon Hurley Create Brilliant Baubles stamp set. And I'm just going to go in here, place my paper down in the corner like I usually would, line up my stamp exactly where I want it on my project, pick it up with the lid, and then let's get into our stamping. So I'm going to go in with some jet black archival ink, and for the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to leave a little bit uninked. I'm going to stamp it down in the corner, and without having to do anything, I'm going to then stamp it again. And sometimes during this process, this mouse pad moves a little bit. So let's say it's moved. Sometimes I forget to make sure that everything's pushed down into the corner. Let's say it's moved up just a little bit. If I go back in to stamp this down, it's going to offset it and give me a little bit of a fuzzy image, which is not something that I want. So like I said, one thing I love about it is this foam surface, but it's cut a little bit smaller than this area, which means it can move around without me completely noticing every single time. So one thing I like to do is I just take little pieces of purple tape here, I'll wrap them up into kind of a circle on top of itself, and then I'll go in here and place these down to hold down my MISTI stamping tool. And I don't find that I need anything super strong, so I just go in with a little bit of purple tape here, and then I'm going to line it up directly in the corner of my stamping tool, place it down, and stick this down. And this is going to keep it from moving at all. So when I go in here and I stamp, I'll grab that same piece of cardstock. I'm going to go in and stamp this down. And let's say I want to go in and stamp it again. I can do that and be completely rest assured that it's not going to give me a fuzzy image. So I love how crisp and clean this is, and sometimes this does move on me, so having it taped down is really helpful. Now I know that I purposefully moved that for the demo to make it a little bit blurrier, but trust me, in the past couple of weeks, this tape tip has helped me a lot, because I used to get a lot of fuzzy images just from that mouse pad moving. Having it taped down is perfect. Now this next tip involves a messy tool that I don't love in my craft room. Now I learned this tip from my friend Bromero Crafts. His name is Ricky, and I'll link his channel down below because this tip is absolutely genius. So check out his videos after you're done watching this one. Now this is an anti-static powder bag for embossing. And I find this to be super messy, but I use it all the time because it really helps keep down the static of your embossing powder. And usually when I use it, lots of powder runs out, and I find lots gets out from either side where there's just stitching, and also it gets all over my hands with powder. So one thing that Ricky does is he takes a binder clip, grabs both of these ends, kind of tucks them in there, and then go in here and clip this down. What this is going to do is going to give you a really nice handle to hold this on, and then of course you can just go in with your powder tool, wipe it across your surface, not get your hands dirty, not get a bunch of excess powder on your project. And then I also like to keep it in a little dish in my drawer. And that's just going to make this tool that you might have to use for embossing a lot neater and cleaner when you're using it. So thanks for that awesome tip, Ricky. I really enjoyed it. Now this next tip is for when I have stencils with lots and lots of detail. This stencil is my loose stencil, and this has a lot of thin lines in it, and I find when I go in with a little bit of thinner, more runnier paste, it can kind of seep underneath those stencil lines, especially if you have super delicate and intricate stencils. So one thing I love for that is going in with a little bit of Pixie spray. This stuff is awesome. So all I'm going to do is shake it up a little bit, and then I'll spray spray over top of this with a little bit of that Pixie spray. And I'll give it about a minute to dry. You can always do this over top of a cardboard box too, if you want to make sure things don't get sticky around you. Alright, so I've waited about a minute and you can already see this is a little bit tackier than a normal stencil. I don't do this on all of my stencils, but for when I'm going in with a little bit of a thinner paste, this really helps. So I'll go in and just press it down and make sure I get all of those lines pressed down, which is really going to make sure nothing gets underneath any of the details. And then I'm going to go in with a little bit of the Stickles glitter gel, and you'll definitely see this paste is a little bit more kind of runny or thinner of a paste than a usual texture paste. So I'll go in here, grab my palette knife, and start spreading it over top. And I just love the shimmer and shine and glitter that's inside of these. And the cool part about these too is you'll see in here, I don't know if it's really catching on camera, but there's little like stars and different shapes of glitter, which I really think is super unique. So once I'm done spreading that out, I'll put any excess back in the jar and we can lift this off. And there you can see just how clean those lines are. I've had so many pastes that are a little bit thinner run right underneath the stencil, but this really keeps all of that amazing detail with the shimmer and shine of the paste. When I'm just using inks, I don't find a need to spray down my stencil, but next time you go in with a thinner paste or medium, be sure to try the Pixie spray. I think it'll really help you out and keep all the amazing crisp details in your project. Now this one is more just a tip than really a life hack, but I think it'll save you lots and lots of money. Now when I first bought the Brother P-Touch label maker, it wasn't too bad. I think it's about a $20, $25 investment, I'm not quite sure, but I'll link the label maker down below with my affiliate links in case if you want to support me without any extra cost to you. But one thing that they do get you with is the label tapes. They're super expensive. Usually they only come in a pack of 1 from Brother, and you have to buy lots of them in order to label all of your supplies, drawers, and things like that. And I label a lot in here. So one thing I found when I first got this label maker several years back is some off-brand label tapes from Amazon. And these work perfectly. I'll link down below to the ones that I found. I think they come in packs of 2 or 3, which is really awesome. They're very inexpensive, and as far as I can tell, they work exactly the same as the regular branded label tapes. So of course you can get it in 6mm or 12mm, and this has been super helpful because I don't have to worry about wasting labels anymore. I label a ton in here, and this saves me a ton of money. So now you won't have to be stingy with your label tape anymore, and you could definitely feel free to label everything and stay organized. This next one is a really great tip to test out your embellishments before you actually put them down onto your project. So for this, I'm going to be doing a little bit of stamping. I'm using the Swirly Ferns background stamp from Hurley Create. This is a peel apart background, so if you want to use some of the individual pieces, you can actually peel them out like a puzzle and use them separately. But I'm going to use it as a whole background right now. So I'm just going to go in with my fake plant Hurley Create ink and start stamping this down. And I'm going for a tone-on-tone look onto my cardstock here. So I'm just taking a little bit of time to ink this up. I will stamp it down onto some dark green cardstock. Once that's all stamped down, we can get to embellishing our card. So for this, if I wanted to put drops on the card, I want to test them out to make sure that I really love the placement before I actually commit to putting them on my project. And this is especially awesome when you're at the end of a card and you don't want to ruin something, right? That's happened to me way too many times. So for this, I'm going to grab some Stickles or liquid pearls. I'm going to actually test which one I like better. And I go in with a piece of plastic packaging. Now this could be anything. It could be acetate, it could be some of the sturdier packaging. Maybe you want to wipe it off and keep reusing it, so you grab a thicker piece of plastic. It is totally up to you. But I'm going to just take this, place it down onto my card. You might get a little bit of a glare on camera, so I apologize for that in advance. But I'm going to go in with my medium then, and I can just go in and test out exactly where I want to put these. So maybe I'll play with a layout. I'll try clusters of these. I'll try putting them a little bit more sporadically, kind of throughout my card. And this way, I can test to see, maybe I like this a lot better than this. Well, it's a good thing I have this piece of plastic down, because all I need to do is lift it up and just, restart if I don't like it, which is really awesome. So instead of wasting a bunch of cardstocks and throwing things away, I can just test it on a piece of plastic before I really commit. And let's say I want to try a different color too and see which one looks a little bit better. I can go in here with a totally different product and test that out as well. So once I decided I like that, I can then go in with my Stickles again and go straight down onto my project. And that's just going to make sure you're not throwing a ton of stuff away and wasting your supplies by testing out exactly where you want your embellishments. Now we have little holly berries here, and I absolutely love this tip because it has saved me so much time, so many projects, and so many supplies that I might usually have wasted by going straight to my project without testing if I like it even beforehand. One other tip I want to share in today's video involves a little bit of color theory when ink blending. I'm not the greatest at color theory, but I know which colors don't usually work together. But if you're a beginner in card making and don't really know and don't really want to learn a ton of color theory, I have a really great solution for you. So when we were creating the Simon Hurley Create inks, we really created an ink that would blend together no matter what perfectly. So I'm going to go in here with a little bit of bee sting, and I'm using my Simon Hurley Create Stark White cardstock. You can always tap your tool off to the side to get rid of excess ink. But I'm just going to go in straight on my card here. One thing you'll notice is if you get any harsh marks, you can always continue to blend your tool and it's going to just blend any of those harsh marks out, which is one thing I really like about my ink. But if you know anything about ink blending or color theory, you know red really shouldn't blend or mix well with green, and they create kind of a nasty brown usually. So I'm going to go into here and go in with my green. I'll pull this next to the red, and you can see it blended pretty nicely there, which I really like about my inks. And it blends really nicely in between there with a seamless transition. Now let's say I wanted to go in with a little bit of purple now, because purple and green don't really blend together and they should create brown as well. So if I go in here with a little bit of purple, I'll bring a little bit of triple berry in. Again, it blends really nicely in between there. It gives a really great transition, which I really love. Now, of course, if you can imagine, if colors that usually aren't supposed to blend together, you can only imagine how colors that are supposed to blend together and look really good will do next to each other. So I'll put a little bit of slippery and wet next to the bee sting, and you can see here just how seamlessly this one blends together and creates a really nice orange in between there. So what I always tell people when they're using my ink pads is you can really play around with whatever color combinations and bring different colors into it, because no matter what, you're really not going to create mud. And if you do, of course, you could always toss it. You got a lot more chances of not creating mud with these inks. Alright guys, what do you think? I hope you really enjoyed the life hacks that I shared in today's video. Leave me a comment down below letting me know which life hack was your favorite. I would love to chat with you guys down there. And also give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Be sure to click that subscribe button and ring the little bell icon next to the subscribe button so you never miss another video like this one from me. Alright guys, I'll see you very soon. Have a wonderful night. Bye!